Okay guys, it's Nicholas again, aka Enmatice on Headfi, and I'm here today with the Brainwavz B100 single BA in-ear monitors and the Brainwavz B200 dual BA in-ear monitors. Here are the boxes. They are pretty bare bones. They just point out which model they are and basically say the same thing. They're balanced armatures, high fidelity audio, clarity and detail, over-ear design. I'll just flip one of the boxes over a little bit for you so you can see it. And then on the side, it mentions a couple things. 24-month warranty. Kudos to you, Brainwavz, for the 2-year warranty. Includes comply foamies. And on the back, pretty generic box again, B100. That's it. A little white space where I imagine they would have a UPC or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's because it's a review model. Same thing that was on the left side of the box is on the right side. And that's about it. Bottom has a little bit of little FCC info there for you. Nothing on top. Okay. So those are the boxes. And that's the case. It's basically the new Brainwavz case. It's the elongated one instead of, they used to have the one that was about like that, but it was about that wide, but it was a little bit longer here. I don't know if either one's any better than the other one, but let's take a look at what's inside here. Unzips pretty nicely, and bam. This is basically what you get inside the box. There's just a plastic insert with the case inside, with all of this laid out inside the case. So what do you get? Of course you get the in-ear monitors, and they come wrapped in Velcro, so they got the little Brainwavz logo Velcro, and we'll go more into those in a bit. They have a very generic in-ear user guide, silica gel, a clip, a shirt clip. There are silicone tips. There's no difference in the bore width. They just have 2 pairs each of small, medium, and large silicone tips. And then they have the comply foamy tips. So that's what you get inside the case. It's a pretty typical package for in-ear monitors. You got silicone tips, you got some foam tips, you have the monitors, you've got a case. Okay. Let's get rid of these things. We don't really need those anymore. And let's look at the in-ear monitors. And I might just pause it for a minute and zoom in a minute here. So the Velcro comes off, and then you have, you got your cable and your in-ear monitors, and it's not too tangly, which is good. And I think I will maybe just pause it for a sec, zoom in so you can see a little bit more about the in-ear monitors themselves. Oops, so hold on a sec. Alright, I am back. So I'm just going to start with the plug and move my way up the cable. So here we go. You have it's not a straight plug, it's not a 90-degree plug, it's a 45-degree plug. And you probably can't see it, but it's got a little Brainwavz logo there. And it's just a 3-pole plug, no mic, no remote here, which I actually prefer. And there are no options to get those with these in-ear monitors either. And that's just fine with me. I never use them. For some of you smartphone users out there, you might like to have that option. So be forewarned, I did not see any option for the mic controls. Here we go. Here is the plug, and let's just move the cable on down. Kind of get it out of the way. You can see it does have memory effect from being kind of folded up inside the case. There we go. Here is the Y splitter, And it's got the Brainwavz logo on it as well. And just like a lot of Brainwavz gear, the cable is, I should have done this. The cable's good. It seems pretty sturdy. And the Y splitter is a little on the chunky side. Not too bad like the earlier stuff, but it's it's a little on the chunky side. Does separate the cables very nicely above the Y split. It has a cinch that functions well. Okay, and the cable above the split, those cables look a little bit delicate to me, but I haven't had any problems with them, and I've been, pulling them in and out of the case, using them quite a bit. They got caught on things, and they seem fine so far. And then we make our way up to the inner monitors with the ear guides on them. And just to give you an idea, maybe it's a little too high contrast, because they didn't put any real good markings on them. But here it is in my hand. And each one is marked either right or left on the inside face. It's got a circle with an R or a circle with an L. And you can see the ear guides here. It's not memory wire. This is just some, it's kind of like heat shrink tubing or something around it that's pre-formed. It works really well. I actually like this better than memory wire. These allow me to use my glasses. It's fantastic. They don't interfere with my glasses because it's so thin. I don't have to worry about bending them every time like I do with memory wire, and I don't have to worry about them getting bent out of shape inside the case because they're not memory wire. They just keep their shape, and they wrap around my ears very nicely. They're very comfortable, and again, they work with my glasses. So great job on the ear guides, Brainwavz. I love them, and I know some other guys on the forum over on Headfi also agree with that statement. So let's take a look at the in-ear monitors themselves. Hopefully this is all coming through fairly well. Let's take off the tip. So they've got a pretty small nozzle on them right there. So they take quite, I forget which size comply they are. They're probably the T100s. Very, very narrow. You can see the acoustic dampener inside there. This one is the B200, and it's got the brown acoustic damper. The B100s I believe have the white acoustic damper inside. And I know I played around with these a little bit with my old Fisher DV802s, and I believe the brown just knocks the upper mids down, which was borne out in some of the measurements and listening that I have done. So the whites don't knock the treble and upper mids down as much. But here it's very smooth, shiny plastic, it's smooth. The one thing that I can say about them is they're very comfortable as long as you are, just wearing them over your ears and wandering around. If you want to lay down though, they're a fairly shallow fit inner monitor, so they're fine for laying down except for one thing, and that would be this edge right here. I don't know if you can see that, but this flat area where the strain relief comes out, it's can poke into your ear. So when you're laying down, that will poke into your ear right there, and it doesn't feel very good. So I don't recommend these for wearing if you're going to sleep or something, but as far as just wandering around, everyday activities, working out, whatever, these things feel great. Like I said, the ear guide's fantastic. And the in-ear monitor itself nestles in your ear very well, very comfortable. The tips go on just like that. Okay, so that was a little tour around them. So a couple things that I wanted to point out. One, again, I like the, here you go. I like that. I like the 45-degree plug. I like the cable, other than the memory effect. It's great, but the memory effect doesn't really bother me that much when I'm listening to them. Again, I think the cable up above the Y splitter is a little bit thin. It feels a little delicate to me. I mean, it's held up so far, but I feel like it could be a little tougher. And then the shell, narrow bore, kind of limits, or narrow nozzle, narrow bore tips, kind of limits your tip rolling a little bit, you know, if you want to go the wider bore tips. And, you know, they're very comfortable, great ear guides. One small downside, if you want to sleep, just right here by the strain relief is a little bit sharp. Now, I just happen to have the Brainwavz M100 that I had in for testing from Brainwavz 2, and there are a couple things that I like about that. One is the Velcro. Okay, so the Velcro on the M100, they just attach the Velcro right onto the wire. That's really handy, and I would encourage Brainwavz to do that with all of their in-ear monitors in the future. I think that is fantastic. I would have loved to have seen that on the B100 and the B200. And other than that, the cable is basically the same, except for above the Y splitter here. I don't know if you can see it, but the cable above the Y splitter is a bit more robust, right? It looks like it's got maybe a little bit of a braided sheath or something around it. I mean, it's basically looks the same texture and toughness as the wire before, the cable before the Y splitter. So I think, to me, the cable above the Y splitter on the B100 does feel feels sturdier, feels more robust. It might interfere with the ear guides, though, as the M100 are meant, you know, to be worn down. You can tell by their shape. You can wear them over your ears. I bet, though, that these ear guides from the B100 and the B200, it might just work with that little bit thicker cable. I'm not sure. In any case, they're fine. I like them. And I'm going to cut away now, and I'll probably just come back for a little quick face-to-face chat about the sound of the B100 and the B200, and yeah, just get my thoughts on that, wrap up, and I'm going to go. All right, I am back, and we're here to, again, I'm here talking about the Brainwavz B100 single BA IEM and the B200 dual BA IEM. And I already went through, I unboxed one of them for you, showed you what you're going to get with the with either pair of IEM. There's no difference in the accessories in these packages, so what I showed you is what you'll get for both. And then I went over the basic construction of them, and I hope you can see all of that. Everyone here, or everyone watching, should know by now I'm pretty lo-fi when it comes to video tech, so you know, I'm not monitoring what I'm doing when I'm showing you, so I'm hoping that it all turned out okay. I guess I'll find out when I cut it together. And I don't like to do retakes. I've got a wife and kids, and I don't have much time for this, but I love to talk about it. So I'm kind of a first take guy most of the time. In any case, B100, B200, what's the difference between these guys? So, obvious difference. Or actually, I'd say what the similarities beyond just the packaging looks the same, the accessories are the same. The other thing is, the in-ear monitors look exactly the same. That's why I just showed you one pair of them. There's no color difference, there's no shape difference, there's no size difference, and that is one thing that I think was a bit of a misstep on Brainwav's part, because if you own the different flavors of these, there's a B100, there's a B150 that's also a single BA, and then there's a B200. They all look exactly the same. You can't tell them apart if you have more than one pair. So what I've done is I wrote B100 and B200, on a slip of paper, and I put it inside the cases, and I make sure that I only open one at a time. I don't mix the two ever, 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 because I can't tell the difference visually. I can tell the difference by ear, but I can't tell the difference visually. So just some kind of distinguishing factor would be fantastic. Even if they just stamped B100, B150, B200 on the shell, that would be an improvement, because the shell has, at least that I've seen, and I've gone over them, it says Brainwavz, but it says an L and an R to tell you which channel you have, which earpiece you have, but it does not say B100, B150, or B200 in any obvious way. And they're coming out with a B300, I believe, pretty soon, or sorry, maybe it's a H300. I'm not exactly sure what their terminology will be, but it's a triple hybrid. So they need to do something about making them easy to distinguish. So, all right. So we already established they look the same accessories. The in-ear monitors, you can't tell them apart unless you know the sound signature. So there you go. What is the difference in sound signatures? So let's talk about B100 first. I got these first, and I've spent a little more time with them. I like them. I'm going to read over, actually, just have the Brainwavz site up in front of me here. So, here's what they have to say about them. The B100 are designed with sound quality and comfort in mind. I agree. I went over that. I mean, they sound good, and they are really comfortable. I went over that when I was talking about the in-ear monitors before, when I was showing them up close. The single balanced armature has been tuned to produce a well-rounded sound, focusing on reproducing clear vocals with a controlled bass. The B100 over-the-ear design and small form factor allow for a comfortable and ergonomic fit. Okay, I would agree with all of that. And says the B100 is an ideal entry-class balanced armature earphone that will satisfy your audio needs regardless of what genre of music plays through them. I've listened to, some jazz, electronic music, metal, and classic rock with these guys. And that's pretty much and a little bit of kind of avant-garde, minimalist classical music. So they sound good with from what I have played through them. And I've been using this guy with them quite a bit because I have it in for testing, the IEM i5. And when I'm playing these on the IEM i5, I'm typically listening around 30 on low gain, just to give you an idea of where I'm at volume-wise. Somewhere in the 25 to 35 range, depending upon the song, depending upon how loud I want to listen at any point in time. So, what else do they have to say about them? Let me go over here. I'm just going to scroll up a tiny bit and give you the specs, just the brief specs. So, again, single BA. I should turn the box around. You can see the side without that obnoxious piece of tape. Single BA. The impedance is 50 ohms. They're claiming a frequency range of 15 to 22, and the sensitivity is 110 decibels per milliwatt. Okay, what do I think of them? I think they're a really good entry-level single balanced armature. They're a little on the warm side. They have nice bass presence. Being a BA, the bass is pretty quick, and they've got, the lower mids have a little bit of warmth to them. The upper mids are emphasized a bit with these, so you have nice guitar crunch. If you have female vocalists, their vocals will typically be emphasized with these. And the treble is crisp, but it's not harsh. I appreciate that. I don't like harsh treble. Some of you might not find these crisp enough or well-defined enough for you or detailed enough. And the soundstage is good. It's not tremendous, but it's good. I was just listening to Tom Sawyer on the i5 before this video, and I like the part where, just the very beginning of the song, we've got the drum hit, bass drum, snare hit, and then the synthesizer expands outwards on both sides of your head. It sounded good. It didn't sound closed in, so I appreciate that. And in the middle of the song, Neil Peart's drumming, clearly it was clear and crisp, and it went all the way across my head, which it's supposed to, as he's panning across the drum kit. Sounded good. Now, in comparison, so again, they're warm, a little bit of lower mid warmth, enhanced, a little bit emphasized upper mids. See, so that's, I guess, why they're claiming the vocal clarity, because they've got enhanced upper mids and smooth. I mean, it's crisp treble, but it's smooth in the sense that it's not harsh, So I appreciate that. And on the other hand, the B200 here, hopefully you can, there we go, B200. These guys, I've listened to them. I also measure my in-ear monitors with my Dayton IEM 06, and the bass on these is pretty similar to the B100. When I measured it, it's maybe a decibel or two lower, so it's pretty spot on for the bass. You're not going to notice too much of a difference in the bass region. And the upper mids are reduced in this. They do not have the enhanced upper mids. In fact, they take a dive in the upper mids and lower treble. And that's something that gives the B200 an overall sense of refinement when compared with the B100. I've got to say the B100 are more like an in-ear monitor that I would have gravitated to a couple of years ago. And as I progressed in this hobby, and I think it honestly started with when Jack Vang sent me the Empire Ears tour kit, that their lower level in-ear monitors had an upper mid peak, and their upper tier in-ear monitors had a upper mid lower treble valley. And at first it took me a while. I didn't like them at first. It took me a while to get used to them, but boy, once I got used to that sound signature, I really liked it a lot. And I've been looking for in-ear monitors and headphones that give me that same sense of refinement. They don't sound shouty to me anymore. Some of the in-ear monitors and headphones with that upper mid peak, I think they give you a sense of, and maybe an artificial sense of, increased sound stage, increased detail. But something like the B200, they sound smooth. They're still on the warm side. They're smooth. They sound more refined. I still get the detail retrieval out of the B200, and I get a better sense of sound stage and spatial cues where things are happening in the music. More a sense of separation of sounds with the B200, even though they have that full, warm, smooth characteristic. So if I had to choose between the two, these are the B100. They're $60. Fantastic price for these. I give them a hearty recommendation. If I were doing a Headfi review on these, I'd probably give them a 4.5. I would say I don't give 5-star reviews unless something is perfect. There really aren't many perfect products out there, so I would say I would give these a 4.5. If I were on a grumpy day, maybe a 4, but easily a 4.5. And the B200, I think these aren't even released yet. I think these are going to be, because I know the B100 are $60, the B150 are $110. I think the B200 are going to be around $200. And for that price, I have to say I think they're a pretty good bargain. I'd give these, again, a 4. If I were on a good day, I'd give them, really keen day, I'd give them a 4.5. You'd probably get a 4. But I like these a lot. And I forgot to mention again, I've been listening to them with the Cayenne i5, and with the i5, I'm more in the probably the 20 to 30 volume range with these, so these are easier to drive. And I think, in my experience, that's been fairly typical of multi-BA monitors. The more armatures you start adding in there, they get more sensitive, they get easier to drive. So, and with both of those, I'm not hearing any hiss out of the i5. I'm not the most sensitive to hiss anyway, but I'm not hearing it. So B200, I'd give them a 4 to 4.5. The B100, again, I would give a 4 to 4.5. More on the 4.5 side here, maybe more on the 4 side here. That said, that's because the B100 are what I consider a tremendous value for the price. The B200 are more a good value for the price. That's why maybe I'd rate them just a little bit lower. But I do like the B200 more, and I end up listening to them more. For instance, when I'm listening to Rush, Tom Sawyer, I mentioned that I get great spatial characteristics from the B200 and a more refined sound. And with the B100, the guitars are a little bit sharper and are a little more prominent. And Geddy Lee's voice sounds more nasal with the B100, right? So with the B200, I lose that nasal tonality from Geddy Lee's voice, and to me, he sounds more natural. I've listened to Rush for a very long time, since I was in middle school, high school, and the B200 sound more tonally accurate to me than the B100. So I give the nod to the B200, just not quite as a tremendous deal as the B100 are. But both of these I would easily recommend to people who are looking to get into the balanced armature market and not spend a ton of money. These are good entry points, depending upon where you want to start. And I haven't heard the guy in between here. I haven't heard the B150 yet. So I was thinking about picking up a pair of those just to complete the collection and see what I think of them. Right now, I think if they're somewhat in between these two, I'd probably like them quite a bit, although at the $60 point, I'd probably give the nod to the B100. And if I were looking at a logical step-up point, it probably wouldn't be the B150, it'd probably be the B200. So, I hope that was useful, and I hope I fairly clearly went over what I thought about the B100 and the B200, what they come with, how they're built, what I thought could be improved a little bit about them, what they sound like, and why I like each of them. And I wouldn't change anything about either of these, even though I prefer the B200. I don't think I would change the B100 because some people will really like the B100 sound with those, with that a little bit more upper mid presence. And there'll be some people who are looking for the B200. And again, I really think that B200 is a good intro to this more refined sound signature that I've heard in the top of the line in-ear monitors. So, I think I am done, and I'm going to throw that box away. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you guys tuning into me. I enjoy talking about audio gear, especially this portable audio gear. And I am going to sign off. Probably the next thing I'll be coming back with is more on the Cayenne i5. I already uploaded the unboxing video. I uploaded an overview of the GUI going through from boot to browsing through the songs, going over the EQ, going over where you find the third-party apps. I've got Google Play installed on here. Works fine. And all the way to shutoff. So what I need to do is just give it a little more listen. I think I've formed a good opinion of it, but I'm going to listen to it a little bit more with some other DAPs that I have, and then come back for a final wrap-up of the sound of the Cayenne i5 and where I think it fits in in my DAP collection and who I think might want to buy the Cayenne i5, who would be good for. Okay, I'm done, and I appreciate your time. And until next time, happy listening, guys. All right, bye-bye.